Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I had a short night because I don't know what I ate, but a bit painful.
Oh,
And I have no idea what it is. So it's like now I have a kind of mild Russian roulette in the fridge, but
okay.
it's okay. I'll have a nap today, a couple more coffees, and I'll survive.
Naps are amazing things, aren't they? When they're possible.
Yeah.
They really are. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I
Um,
blame the Russians.
yeah, yeah, of course. Uh, sorry, my programmer was asking me we have a weird bug in Reader. I'll deal with that later. I put a few questions in Slack. Two of them are about events. This digital
Yes.
commons policy, is that interesting?
Not really, no. I mean, it depends what you're interested in. So I know them, NGI,
Right.
and one of the program I had with Leon on the shell, actually the one we presented, or he mostly presented. I'm pissed at him because he said that it was our work. It's like, yeah, it is, but 99% is his. I don't know why he doesn't. He gives me too much credit. Anyway, it's sponsored. Or it was sponsored by this NGI. So I definitely think it's an interesting organization and a positive one. To be clear, I think like Sloan,
Right.
uh, but it's super high level. So, like, what would come out of it? What is your expectation for such an event? Let's say.
Uh, I didn't know them at all, so obviously the fact that you know them quite well changes things. But a little bit of networking, and also I
It's
know
too
that.
high level for this. Sorry to interrupt. The networking there is not useful because it's like, I mean, it depends again, but it's like 5 years, 10 years. They don't, for example, give funding to individual. They don't. It's really super abstract. Like I don't want to go.
Oh,
It's next
no, no.
door, and I'd rather not go because again, it's weird in the sense that I'm aligned with it, with the strategy, and even with the means of how they do it. But it's I don't feel that it's for me at my individual level, even professionally. I mean.
No, no, I understand that. I'm sold on the idea of not going. That's not a problem. But I mean, like the thing that I am most passionate about now, and I know you see it differently, is the whole thing of having an open standard for knowledge configurations, because I believe that is different from just a 3D model, and that should be worked on. But yeah, no, it's fine. We don't need to talk about it. You know who they are. They're not useful for us right now. So yeah, that's fine. Then the
And,
second
and, and I think a lot of it can be seen online. Like there is no need to go to the actual thing, because the networking is not even easy because they are like they want to talk to let's say somebody at the commission. It's very specific.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember when this event is, but let me just see. I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying Vint Cerf. We have a meeting on the 4th of November, I think it is. And he's also, yeah, as you know, he's very supportive of what we're doing. So maybe could have, and I agree, we don't need to cobble something together with him and go in there under his kind of auspices or whatever. But yeah, so then there's the second thing, Somerset House, Infinite Bodies.
Is it the podcast that you shared?
Yes.
Okay, I did not listen to it. I was tempted, but I didn't have the time yet.
It's kind of a
Um,
background thing if you happen to be ice skating or something at that kind of level.
yeah. Good idea. No, but I do this often also while cooking or like manual tasks around the house. So I do usually have time for podcasts or audio shows. What's the though since you brought it up? What's the
What's the pitch?
yeah? What inspired you about it?
The guy is hugely pretentious and he says a few things that are plain wrong, like most communication is nonverbal.
Exactly selling it right now.
Yeah. No, no, and I know I'm not exactly selling it, But then at the other side of the spectrum, he's clearly thought about this kind of dance a lot. And he
Yeah.
works with technology companies, including Google, which is not necessarily a great thing. And he makes little observations like when you look at, no, we're used to looking at ourselves in flat photographs and mirrors. That means that our movements, our thinking is based on that. So it's very spatial. And they do kind of full body scanning, special things and all of that stuff. I just thought it was for our work in XR, just fits in a way.
Yeah.
So it might be a fun thing for us to do on day 2 of the Future of Text.
It matches the schedule. Yeah, yeah. Then if it's within that context, potentially it's again, I think it's like visiting the basement of the Royal Society with all the cards. I think it needs like introduction for people to not just see, oh, we're being eclectic, rather that, yeah, it is actually, the link is strong. And which, because why I say this is because the movement in the body, for sure, like regardless of with whom they work, the capture techniques, all that, even though I'm into technique, it doesn't matter so much. There'll be a new technique next year, so whatever. But then where I think it need the clearer bridges, it's the academic or the research part, because typically for most researchers, it's like I sit on my desk and I use whatever laptop and I download whatever PDF. It's not, the body is more actually, I would argue, a problem than a solution. So I think that's where I would maybe clarify a bit, find a way to make it more explicit for the context. Our context with Sloan, I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll check with Dini first as well, of course, because, that would make sense. And then we have I think, the most important issue for today, which is my proposal for how to do XR. Let me just XR to, it was actually XR to 2D, not XR to 3D.
Ah.
Let me share my screen and go through, because I'm now ready to tell the guys to just do it. If you agree with the structure. So all I'm doing here is separating item description and annotations, wise location. Okay, yeah, so proposed for XR is a location list, which we kind of have. That's a simple one. Item description, which I've added a bit to, which we need to discuss. And then separately, annotations. So they can be in the same file, but I think that annotation really is a end user thing. So of course, an author may have annotated, but the end user should be able to do it too. So they should be separable. What do you think?
Doesn't matter to me.
So what I'm saying is that we have, for the annotations to begin with, just 3 things: color, text, and topic. Topic being keyword or whatever.
Yeah. Did you freeze? Did I freeze?
Nope, I'm just being quiet for once in my life.
How are they linked actually together? Because that here I see 2 different things: the annotation and the item, but I need like a pointer relationship, something.
Yep.
Maybe it's not the same on everyone. So
No, you're right. That's something that, you know what, I'm going to delete a lot of this, because this is something you saw that Mark pointed out was different, right?
I saw that, yeah, he made a remark. I wasn't sure exactly, but
Yeah. So now I made it just the same.
mhm. But in the annotation, it's not. There
No,
isn't.
annotation hasn't got one at all yet.
Okay.
So what should I do? Should I just start with that kind of a sentence? Or does it need to be prefaced or something?
Doesn't matter to me. It's literally like, if there is an ID that match, then I know they're related to each other. and then that's fine. If there isn't, then I'm like, wait, what does it relate to? Like it's how I, technically speaking, find the relationship between. So now, for example, with this, I know it's 1-to-1. That one item has one annotation, might have more, so it probably suggests making another. If it's a list, then it has to be like square brackets. So yeah, it depends. That's why it's important. It's a bit finicky, let's say. But even that, it doesn't really matter in the sense of what are we doing here. We're not establishing a standard for 100 years to come. It's to try one prototype. If it works, then that's good, and we see if it's useful. If it doesn't work, then we change the format, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. So is this correctly done?
So I would say probably not, but at 8:31, after only one coffee, looking at and parsing the schema is a bit tricky. So I would suggest to copy paste it on, let's say, like a JSON random website, and it's going to validate it for you or not. Probably. So the curly braces are for objects. So the first one is correct. Yeah, the location. But
Sorry.
why is it separated from the rest, actually?
Location from item description.
Yes.
That's because in the world of author, we have where's author here? Show package content. The dynamic view is the, the layout. That's good. Title. Oh no, it's actually in here, both of them. Where is the glossary then? Oh, I guess that one doesn't have a glossary. The idea is that let me just install here.
But also, when you if it's from dynamic view, then you already have X, Y. So I would just extend there. I wouldn't make something separated from that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. But also, do we need to be concerned with rotation? Probably, right?
Yes, and that's the standard, let's say, in XR, that you have what's called a pose, and pose is location and rotation. But it's not, even that is not really a problem, because you prefer user facing all the time, that it billboards to the user face. And if that's the case, then the rotation will be removed anyway. So it's rotation is only important if we don't billboard. So
no, that's not right. Your billboarding is only at the point of letting go, so it stays, and that's really important.
It's entirely up to us. Like if you say billboarding, it can be billboarding from the start when everything is loaded. It can be not billboarded and been billboarded on release, but the point is there is no rotation. So it depends also, like if it's only for you, literally you, and only also with author and reader, then it doesn't have to be more than the minimum that's going to be used.
Should we keep them in as defaults anyway, just to keep it open so people don't suddenly scream, where is it?
Where is what?
Where are the opportunities for this kind of rotation?
Sure.
I have several questions. Okay, we'll just leave that then. So this one should be fine.
So typically, just to be a little bit pedantic, the X rotate, Y rotate, Z rotate, you can use what you had during your last flight. So namely,
Pitch, and roll.
Yes, that's what's also used.
What is used in Blender?
I think it's in most 3D software. I mean, it depends. In math, it will be like theta and other names for the angles. But I think, yeah, pitch your role. That's
I don't mind using that at all, but that assumes there is a front, that assumes there is a front and a back, which I guess this has to. But then I don't need X, Y, Z. I just do pitch, yaw, roll, right?
yes,
I mean, this whole session is about getting at what you want because that integrates better. So in brackets, I'm going to say, what axis is that? That is Z axis, right?
yes, it's yeah, yeah, it's in that order. It
It,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
uh, this must be X axis then. Right. Okay. Okay. Let me just go to another one. So obviously, my dream here. So you see, obviously, at the end of an academic, you have these references, and so they're used to having lists. And also in the lower left-hand corner, ACM, they all have this tiny little bit of extra stuff.
Mhm.
So my dream is simply, yes, having it as a visual meta would be okay, but it would be better if it could be made small and a little bit like this, right? Obviously, the question is how to make it extractable. So I have a related question before I forget. If I take this, it's going to use a scratch space at the bottom here, far away from everything else. Um, can I remove the line breaks?
Yes.
So that's only for human consumption, right? I mean, if
Well,
this,
I apologize because I had a short night, so I'll probably be a bit not rough, but inconsiderate. But as a human, I don't read this, but it would be human readable. The comments though that you added, they were not now technically correct. You can't add like a y-axis, x-axis, z-axis rotation. I don't think you can even put comments in JSON.
no, the comments are for the coders.
Okay.
That is, I'll put that, also note that anything in,
Parentheses.
hmm?
In brackets or in parentheses?
Brackets. These are brackets, right?
Okay, I call them parentheses, but
Oh, yes. Norwegian, we would say that too. Guess we copied the French. Oh.
it's okay. And why not the dynamic view? The because it already has XY in it. Why not extend the Z and rotations?
Okay, I've written that note, going back here. So what did you say?
Why not extend the dynamic view to have Z pitch your role? Because it already has X and Y.
I did. Yeah.
So this will be in the dynamic view.
Yes, this is
Okay. Okay.
up here is the current location. This is real, except I made the name a bit shorter, the ID a bit shorter. This is from author right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so this is looking reasonable to you. Obviously, removing the brackets, right, or parentheses.
Yeah.
Hmm. Me being stupid. Okay, now we know. You were right. No idea. Anyway, it is early morning. That's my excuse.
It is. No
It
worries.
is indeed. Right. So for the okay, let's skip. This is the biggest one. So on the annotations one, we can somebody should be able to annotate at least, put a color on something, write a little note, a little yellow sticky, so to speak. choose a category like important or food stuff, and then also assign a little polygon to it, like put a cube on it, as we've talked about. This is a good set, isn't it? What do you think?
Um, so typically, when one does like data structure, is what's important, it's what's optional and what's mandatory. And because if it's just listed like this, then we need to define what is a polygon and what's not. Is it like a list, like cube, spheres, and whatnot? If it is optional, then it's not as strict. We don't necessarily care so much. Here, it's a bit. So the commas, they're inside, so I guess it's not part of the content. Like the hex color value comma. I guess the comma is out of the quotes.
It does a bit of autocomplete for me. So the comma should be here, right? So I was saying,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Uh,
been very strange typing this.
and
Right.
you have the problem a bit above also on phrase and entry and whatnot. That's why, honestly, typically copy pasting it in a JSON, what do they call it? Validator, I think. That helps. But hopefully your programmers anyway they should test it, because technically it's not going to work otherwise. So they'll probably try.
And also these quote marks, they
Yeah, they're not the same.
yeah, I've written a note on because it so often auto does it. So just like
Yeah.
don't be stupid, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So
they'll know. So what you're doing basically is using a little trick of using strings for everything. Like everything is in quote, but in truth, the cube is going to be, for example, the box in A-frame parlance in 2GS2, I think. And we don't have a list of. I mean, there is a list of primitives. So yeah, it's.
can you send that to me later today? The list of primitives, please.
I can send it right now.
Okay.
A-frame primitives.
Okay, great. Instead of polygon, I should call them primitives, right?
Yes. And if color is in lowercase, entirely lowercase, then you want to be as coherent as possible. So primitive should also be lowercase. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yes, it
The
does.
the the, the
Oh,
more
it does matter. Let's just get it right, man. This is all to change. Okay, camera, circle, cylinder. Yeah, this is great. I saw. Oh, this is great. This is really, really good. So it has a image. Just looking through this link.
I would yes, it has an image. I would remove the a dash. I would just keep the, for example, box as you did, and then camera, circle, cone, cube map, etc. Because then it makes it a bit more framework agnostic. That you don't. It's not about A-frame because it's really newly like 3GS. And if the framework like doesn't have it, then
Done.
it's fine. Yeah, I think that's better.
Very good. So the annotation looks useful, right?
Yeah.
No, exactly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as a good starting point. Right. So let's look at this. This is
Wait, because annotation is plural, and then you have a single, and entries is also plural, but you have only one. So what is the intent there?
good question. It's basically, I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought entries meant the different type of data things like entries for the item. But just so, what should it be? Should it be singular there?
Well, if it doesn't even have a purpose, it shouldn't be there. Like it should be directly annotation and then the thing.
And then the values
Yeah, you
like
can just
this.
delete it. Yeah.
Okay.
What though? Why did I ask about the singular plural? Is because is it at so here I think it's attached to an item,
Yes.
and there is a single annotation per item. You cannot have multiple. Is it correct?
An item should be able to have more than one.
Then it for example, here you would do right before the curly braces, you would have a square bracket.
This one or this one?
I don't see the previous one, but not this one. Yes, this one. Before this, okay, I understand what you mean. Before this one, yes, voila. And you have to close it after the curly brace, after primitive.
You called it a bracket, by the way.
Yeah, square bracket, curly brace.
I'm just laughing. Okay, so is this where I put the end square bracket?
No, after the yeah here, and you
Yeah.
can delete the next one because you deleted entries. So what that means is that the
Can we do
object
this? Is that okay to do it like?
it's less readable. I would leave the bracket below because then it matches the one on top.
Okay.
I think it's easier to read. The here it means the object. You have a list, which here the square bracket, and then in it you have an object which with the curly brace, and it's good with a bit of indentation.
Yeah.
It's more readable. But yeah, and each how I would read it at least is here it means each annotation must have a color, must have text, must have a topic. And topic's a bit strange because if it's plural, then it should have a list rather than one single item.
Uh,
And it must have a primitive.
okay, so two questions you asked me there. How do I make this a list? How do I show that it's a list? It should be
Same, it's the square bracket. So before the quotes, the double quotes, you put a square bracket, and after and before the comma. Yeah. So that means it's a list, and typically you could have here topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. And I would probably write that instead like topic A and topic 2, because otherwise then we have no, but outside of quotes. So you need to put a quote after one and before a topic. Yeah. And after two.
then we don't
Yeah.
need the comma, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Fantastic.
There are a lot of rules in. It's typically done in a database, like how to make a data structure. I forgot the name, but there are a bunch of rules on how to do this. It's been decades of studies. It's what the 60s, I guess, or maybe even earlier.
So when we come to putting the code, well, not code, we're putting this into an appendix, I can get rid of the breaks, right? Just to verify.
In JSON, it doesn't matter.
Okay, good. Right, so let's do the big one. Item description. Let's not look at the logic, let's look at the content first. It's a bit weird because of the reality of what it is. So there is this is what it's based on, of course, right? So it has this is a concept, and if you have if it's a document, then it links to the local document like this as a field for that. if it's a citation, um, let me just see what happened there. If it's a citation, then, oh yeah, there's no citations in this document. That's why it didn't show. Let's do it here. Oh, that's weird. That's okay. So that field is missing right now. I don't know why. So this needs to hold everything that it is. So do we need identifier twice? Just realized.
No.
Oh, that's an identifier for citation.
And I guess it should be inside the brackets.
Well, this is actually, this is what it looks like now for real.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask them to change it, of course, but that is what we have. So this is this is if it's a linked document.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to worry about that too much. But okay, what should be in it? Are you happy with this?
And what's the difference with before? Because what I expected is the annotation apparently is new, and otherwise it's the coordinate and rotation, but otherwise it's the same. No?
Well, annotation is something you stick on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the object itself.
If it's always on it, I would put it directly in there, and everything should be one item. I think if it's one to one.
No, I don't want that because you could annotate an object, I could annotate it, different people can annotate it. So it literally is a layer. So do we maybe need to have an owner then on annotation?
Yeah, if there are multiple from different people, but will it be? Are you sure they'll be saved on different systems? No, if I annotate it, it's not going to be saved on your file.
Let's say we use Dini as an example and we are organizing the symposium and she puts up the name of a prospective person. Now, the way that you're planning to build this now, only one person, Dini, can move stuff around and everyone else is only an onlooker, right? So if we are planning that people who are onlookers could also annotate to say, let's say it's a vote, like yes for this person or no for this person.
But it's different system. It's like one is with author or reader or both, and the other is the WebEx for a page. So it's not it's independent.
So the annotation, so when this goes into the space, it'll start maybe on from author map or natively in space. When we then add annotations in the space, that is a different file, so to speak, JSON file. When we are then done, the annotation added in space will know the ID of what it is annotated onto, right? If it touches it, can that be done?
Yeah, where you can
So,
annotate something.
so when then, let's say we have such a meeting and at the end everybody gets a JSON file of the structure at the end of it, would the room file, so to speak, be sent additionally? I guess it would, right?
Yeah, just like the Hypertext 2025. Like when you leave VR, or if so if the person is on the desktop, they get a little pop-in, something like that.
What would be ideal, of course, is, by the way, as an extension, for these floating heads in space to be able to do an annotation, how much more work would that be? Would that be something we do in 1 year or more or less or what? If we even decide to do that.
No, it's so wait. When you say floating heads here, do you mean in 2D on desktop, or you mean in VR, or
in
what's
VR.
in VR?
Yeah.
No, it's not a well. It's not. It's I cannot answer this because it's not clearly defined enough. But it's the let's say assuming that it's people in VR, they might see each other as a floating sphere or not. If we know how to do this individually, then it's not much harder to do it socially. What's trickier if we get the file after, I mean, is if we want to see the annotation of others' life, but it's a deep life, but that's another question. So to save it out, like everybody's in the room in the headset, and everybody types some text and annotates something else, and we get a JSON out potentially with an identifier for the author, the person who did write it, because that's a new things we don't have now. We assume everybody is one person. It's not shared environment.
Right.
But yeah, that's not difficult. If we don't want to see everybody typing live, then it's a totally different thing. And then it's harder, let's say, so more time consuming.
So let's say that Beanie's up there with these names. You and I are the only other people in the room. Your avatar, head, glasses, whatever it is, moves up to a name. And we then have an interface mechanism whereby for a short while you stretch out your hand and your hand is now active in the environment. You touch the name, you do an interaction like spawning a ring menu, for instance, and you choose from the options a color. That's what you're saying seems to be relatively reasonable, right?
Well, so we have part of that.
Okay, so I'm not saying we should at all build it now, but I'm saying that means that the annotation should probably know where it came from. Or will it still be saved separately? Because if you highlight something with a red dot, me as another spectator, I would like to see that live. When you go pling, there it is.
Yeah. So all this makes sense to me, but now I'm confused because I thought until now we were discussing about author, and now we're discussing the XR environment. So are we finished with author and let's say the annotation, or
This has got nothing to do with author.
okay?
Author is just a test vehicle to send something in. What I'm trying to define here is the spatial configuration state that once it's done in this XR with a main person doing stuff is can be put into a PDF and then opened up again, and boom, it's 3D again. It's that old chestnut. So what I've been typing here could have been typed in any software. It just happened to use author because I use author.
So there'll be for each object in space, being annotation or a text snippet or whatever, a pose, so rotation and position, the content, so whatever text the person typed, and then yes, let's say a relationship to another object potentially, and if it's multi-user, there'll be let's say the username, an author, and a timestamp.
Okay, so for the items themselves, you will need time. What do we call that? Just time?
Timestamp.
I'm just going to leave it XXX so we don't waste time on formatting right now because that should be clear. And then this is, what do you call it? Author or creator or what?
Yeah, author.
And we need the same for the annotations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, number one thing is if someone uses external software such as Author from the map, clicks a button down the headset, it's in a meeting, things are moved around. When they come back, they should be able to paste all of this into an author document, and author should be able to save it. No, I can't do. Yeah, that's weird. Why is this not possible? That's weird. Suddenly I can't do definitions. Yeah, they should be able to save it and keep going, right?
Mm. Um, I mean, technically speaking, yes, but it's to me that would be such a strange workflow that I have, except for, let's say, archival eventually. I don't see when would people do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm saying that I'm not saying that I should instantly necessarily, of course, it would be nice, but I agree with the workflow question. But the real thing would be start something on here, work on it on a 2D, put on the headset, work on it spatially, and when you're done, you export it in an archival way using the same type of thing. So when that is exported as even a PDF or other format, once that document is in the headset, then it goes back into XR, spatial.
There's a lot of complexity in there that is not really required because typically, so I had a brief exchange on Blue Sky this morning about somebody who feel they got scammed by using Evernote, and apparently Evernote now is using they removed the free tier and they don't let people export their data or something like this, which probably must be legal, at least in the EU. But the point is, why would one export in a let's say another format if they plan to even archive it? Like typically, if I do a GDPR request for a service, like I did with SoundCloud last week, I got the JSON out, and I don't like convert the JSON to PDF like that.
Oh, but
That's
Fabian,
riskier even. So I don't understand.
I'll answer that question. Here's the answer. Here's an ACM article, as you know. Inside, there are dead images. You know, these are graphs, but they're dead. And then there's a little bit of code, right? This is a normal ACM hypertext article. I think it would be really, really useful to be able to have live data in here, even archived.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. So even if this is clunky, if it has to be with this, for the sake of argument, I'm okay with it. But something so that when you, as we talked about in the very beginning, maybe you see somebody took a screenshot, you know, and that's a link to what's here. So when you're when you're in the spatial scaffolding space again with this PDF, because of the parsing of the last few pages, which starts with this, the system knows that it can make this spatial again. That's the dream. And
But
I
if
think
you have JSON directly out, okay, for PDF, because you flatten things to images rather than having, let's say, the data set in the annexes, yes, I understand. But we're not talking about that anymore. Here, the environment can save to JSON straight. It's not like an image and then a JSON. It is the JSON, so the data is in there. It's live, if you want to say this. So I don't understand that need anymore in our context.
okay, so when someone in the future has used our environment, saved a configuration into JSON, and they've written a paper that relates to this, that JSON data, where do you feel it should be stored?
I don't care.
Well, I do. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
you can store it wherever you want.
Oh, no, but the thing is, having sidecar files and references to other data is messy. The real world, it's hardly ever done, at least in our community. Other academic communities may do it, right? The closest we get is a semi-organized list like this. And also, if you, hang on, let me do this. So I'll go, here's a proper one, right? So I go library, metadata, show archive. Okay, no, that's not what I meant. Oh, okay. I can't find it right now, but these PDFs do not have any metadata at all, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. So I want it to be, if let's say ACM Hypertext is basically run by one of my good friends, Dave Miller, my former supervisor, right? He may allow, well, first of all, they did once, 1 year, they tested with normal visual meta. They may allow for something like that to be done again because the way that documents are made at ACM is incredibly bad. There's an old lady in a little office that does some templates. They don't have a proper publishing workflow, believe it or not. It's really arcane, and Mark Anderson can talk for 12 hours on how bad it is. So all
No
I want
doubt.
to be able to do is get something out of the XR, the environment you're working on, something like this, copy it into a normal document, including LaTeX documents as an appendix, have that produce the PDF, but it has to be produced in a way that it's parsable. And boom, there it is. If it can be in XMP, if it can be externally as well, all of that is great, but that would be
Why is, like, for example, for Hypertext 2025, when the person modified and typed and whatnot, and when they left VR, they had a JSON out.
Mhm.
Why don't you copy paste the content at that JSON and append it at the end of your file in Author?
that
Wouldn't that fit the bill?
that would fit the bill. That would, yeah, that would fit the bill.
Then I suggest to try this. It's again, from the prototype standpoint, it's like, if there is a solution, even if it's not the best one, but it's potentially good enough, it must be tried. And maybe by trying it, it's like, oh wait, we're missing this information, or this is not correct and whatnot. But to do something, let's say, a totally different way without even confirming that the other one is absolute shit is
I don't
very.
know. I don't have an argument with that. It's just this is a discussion that's gone in so many directions and sideways, and some people in the community say it's not possible. Yeah. Okay. So This is the one you're talking about, right? Annotated bibliography, since it's changed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go in and play with that. And then I will try to put that into a PDF, and I will send you the PDF so you can try to um, see if you can extract information in XR. Okay.
I can, and I can try, and I will already tell you before that most likely it is unreliable. It might work in our case, but when there will be like random line breaks and random page breaks, extracting it away is not reliable. So that.
I understand that, and that's what we have to make rules around. First of all, this is the reason why I want to separate, sorry, going into the headset now. That's why I want to separate the configuration from the content, just to make it smaller. I think that's really important, right?
Honestly, it's a hack. I mean, we already, again, as you said, had that conversation. You can make it infinitely small, but then at that point, it's not readable anymore, and I don't think it's coherent with your vision. So
No, no, visual meta is not supposed to be readable. It's supposed to be font size
then,
2.
then why is it not like a PDF metadata? Doesn't PDF allows for like random field, and when you can put all that JSON in the PDF
The people that
structure?
we work with, ACM, they don't know how to do that. It's an old lady in a small office. It
Okay,
is
but
not-
they must have IT people, though. They must have developer working on the actual code behind their website, at least.
Not really.
Then do it.
It is very bad.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm in our environment. I pull things out. So how do I now leave to get the JSON?
I think you tap on the left wrist with your right index.
Um, yeah, that was
Otherwise,
one
you
of the things that
turn
was,
around and there is like exit VR, and you left pinch on the first letter of the exit VR.
Yeah, saving tests or exit VR, which one?
Exit VR, it should save automatically.
Okay. And here you go. Your data as JSON. So let me see how to. Okay. So now I need to try to select here. Oh no, hang on, I can share that maybe.
I can probably, let me check, because I can probably, you can probably exit VR and I can probably give you a link. It should also display a link anyway. Next.
Okay. I got it. Okay, so this is position and the actual text in space. It doesn't have any of the other stuff, and that's totally fine. And I'm going to call this JSON. Yeah, so let me just repeat that. Sorry, there was a little bit back and forth. One of the reasons I want to separate the annotation and the space of things is to make the list smaller. In our books, you're still seeing my screen, right? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So in our books, the visual meta is super tiny, not in the printed because Amazon wouldn't allow that. I think there's an error, but it thinks it's there. But yeah, but in the PDF, it's absolutely tiny. Okay, so here we. Okay, I didn't have a setting for break on this. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, and I'm going to not have visual meta on this. So if I send you this file now, will you be able to play with it?
So, but we've done that before. Huh?
Yeah.
It wasn't with the JSON of this, but it was with what's the name? With BibTeX. So
Here you can see the way it's supposed to be. The visual meta is tiny. Now for
yeah.
this one, I didn't bother optimize size-wise with the having line breaks and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't matter. But okay, but this one only has it has the spatial and then it has the title, but it doesn't have it doesn't currently allow you to have what's inside it. Meaning it's got the phrase, but not the entry.
Because there was no entry. The phrase is the annotation, if you want, or the thing in space itself. Like the relative position is what it's what the what's why there was the HTML viewer is to say, hey, if those two items are next to each other or next to the original, then it means they're related to it. So that there was the how do you say, the principle behind there is that it is inherently spatial. So to have it without the spatialization is, it's not meaningless, but it's very limited. So then you need to compute, let's say, the relative distance between the different items to see, oh, are they close to each other or not? I think we have.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I also sent on Slack a link to a PDF metadata, like a little reader that I could, because if I don't know if it reads XMP that you mentioned. But if you send, I think it would be good if instead of putting the JSON at the end, because we already tried this, so I'm not sure what result you expect from me from there. except to tell you that yes, it probably will work, rather than to put that JSON data inside a PDF metadata field. I don't know if you can do this with Author.
Wait, say that again. I didn't quite understand.
So in PDF, you have meta fields for metadata. I think some of them are popular, maybe the author or the publication year, I don't know which ones, but
Yeah,
I mean,
XMP is one of them. That's an
so-
extended one. There's some basic
yes,
ones as well. It's
but
just that, yeah.
which ones are without even XMP? Which ones are basic? The one that every PDF has.
Okay, let's have a look at this. I just downloaded a PDF from ACM Hypertext,
Yeah,
and I'm going to do get info.
yeah, but are you sure that's PDF metadata?
So
Okay.
what we get here, title is great, and then we have LaTeX as the author,
Yeah.
description, content creator, encoding software. You don't have the human author. You don't have the real date.
So I think here what will be interesting is to find a field that is, for example, whatever, like literally Christmas or potato. I think those don't exist. Ideally, it would be like user-defined field so that you can actually have a field called potato or XR metadata. And in there would be the JSON because that would be safe. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but it makes sense, but they don't use these things. And also XMP is, are you talking about the author? This is it. Author name, description, and title. That is the basic.
There are no more.
No, I mean, there are some more, and I can't even remember how to get to them. Right, let's go back to, hang on, let's do preview actually. And see, view, uh, just trying to find the right place where it would be. Now let's go back to Acrobat, which should be the best. I think maybe it was Command D or something. Yeah, data, document properties, right? So here we have description. Here we have additional metadata.
Yeah, but that would be interesting. Wait. Can you come back, please, to additional metadata? Because what we don't want, but it's definitely, yeah, that could be also good. PDFX, I guess, might be good. Oh, a dumpling core. Yeah, I mean, any of those. It really doesn't matter. Any of those can be a DC double dot potato, and in there the JSON. There are well-defined field is the point.
Yeah, this is
Can be
excellent.
PDFX. I don't know what's the difference with the rest.
But notice what is actually there. Notice the actual data that's been encoded in this official
Yeah.
PDF from the world's largest computing professional organization. There is nothing there.
Yeah, but the point is we added because
No,
anyway.
no, it's not the point. It is not the point because the idea here is to be able to go to ACM and other organizations, say, here is a method where the configuration is one list and it's a short, roughly as short as what we just had here. I mean, hang on. Roughly as short as this. And they refer to things that are elsewhere, the IDs that which can be separate pages or whatever. Just stick it at the back of the document to teach the world's largest organization to use a standard that's been around for decades that they have chosen not to use. And I'm not being sarcastic or demeaning. It's an old lady in an old office running an old script. Apparently, they have newer stuff now, but yeah, I don't know. To shoehorn something into something that the shoes have been refused to wear for whatever the analogy might be for years and years and years. I don't know.
Oh, then, so why do we? What's the? Okay, let me ask you a different question. Assuming everything here works perfectly, we send a document back and forth from author to the environment. There is no data being lost through any glitch of any form. Is your expectation that ACM will be like, wow, this is super cool. Now we're going to change our publishing environment to accommodate for XR?
No, not at all, because they don't have to do that. That's the entire point. The point is that if a user has got this configuration, the layout, the spatial data, and a list of what these elements are, which in many cases I think will just be words. So the description of each should, you asked earlier what's mandatory and what isn't. Mandatory really should just be the text and space, right? So if they have those two things, they should be able to themselves put it in their own document at the top level without anything technical happening. Maybe they have to write something like XR metadata or something knowable so that your parser, when it goes into spatial scaffolding, sees, aha, this is not normal text. This is computable text that I need to parse to turn into an XR environment. It would mean these publishers need to do nothing.
I'll put another link in the Zoom chat. So I put the PDF metadata. I think it's a reader before, and this one is an editor. And I imagine it can overwrite whatnot. I don't know how flexible it is, like adding fields and whatnot.
Okay, Fabian, we don't have control of that part of the publishing. This is the way that the ACM does it is through two things: a very, very weird, outdated Word template, which breaks, and Mark has less here because of it, because he helps people with it. The other way is LaTeX, which is, as I think you know, all based on templates. So you basically paste a bit of text in here, paste a bit of text in there, right? We
Right.
don't really have. Okay, if you don't want to have it in the visible part of the document, I get it. That is something that I have been having discussions with people for quite a while.
I don't care about visible or not visible. It's
I
the
do.
things
That's
that
my
break.
point. I
What?
do care if it's visible because that means that even if data formats change, it will always remain part of the document. Metadata in the traditional storage can get stripped, for one thing.
Okay.
Like EXIF data from a picture. PDF formats change a bit too. There are several PDF formats, right? There's archival format, which that doesn't allow for any of this. There are more accessible formats. I mean, I literally have a PhD in this, and I think the only reason I have a PhD is I wore them down because I don't know if they agreed either. They were also saying things like, just leave the data in the data soup.
If the problem is actually how outdated the publication process is, and I mentioned it before, but there is archive, and archive also has a labs section, and that's the kind of thing that they might not say yes, but they would be like they're pretty dedicated to changing things. So maybe proposing there instead in whatever field it is, and it's so much bigger than ACM. It started a bit like Wikipedia at first, and now it's it's I guess the equivalent also in size of Wikipedia for publishing research papers. So I feel like in terms of shoehorning, if the entire process is outdated, and if a lot of the energy spent is to change it, whereas it seems unchangeable, then maybe it's not the right people to speak with.
The way that I view it is that it's not about changing. It is about adding. Adding is a lot easier than changing,
Hmm.
right? I'm saying that if we allow people, so here's one thing, one I downloaded this year. Adding something in a, here's an image. People can add an image. They add this, that, and the other, right? They have some inline images. It's all very cool. I think now there's a little bit more metadata. So you see here they even have the author name, right? Let's look. So this is the newest, most up-to-date one. Right. I mean, I'm not going to, I know that they're head of technical stuff. I have meetings with him at least once a year. He's all excited, but he has a board a library board who basically, you know, when I find it, remember, this approach was written in the ACM Communications, their main magazine editorial by Vint Cerf saying this is important, we have to do it. Yannis, this CEO, says we have to do it, right? It's interesting, it's important. And then when I go to meet the board, there's the usual, and I'm not being derogatory, but an old lady who spends 15 minutes trying to connect on Zoom, a couple of men who don't say much, and a young lady who says we shouldn't do anything with PDF, we should go to a new format. And then I very politely said, what new format do you suggest? I would love to do that. She says, I have no idea. So nothing happens.
Hmm.
All right. So to get them to go into their XMP and the PDF and to even get the people who are creators of this to be able to know where to put it is not feasible. So I'm thinking that in our community, we show people the workflow that you're now building, and they build this knowledge sculpture, whatever we end up calling it. They get a JSON at the end of it. They paste that just like I did at the end of a document, but in a special heading. People at ACM say, what the heck is this? And we have a video showing them, well, this is special stuff. And without you doing anything, it is now spatial.
Hmm.
If we can do that in a really compact way, I think that'll be really, really important. I mean, I know very little about the realities of this. You know the realities. Even if we start with this, I'm not unhappy. Did I give you the PDF here? I did. I mean, can you open the PDF I sent you?
Yeah.
And then see if you can extract that text?
But we've already done it. So
Right.
I know we can extract the text
What
from this.
I mean, yes, but you have valid concerns about reliability, right?
Hmm.
So what can I do as the person suggesting how it should be written to make it so it's less likely to break? Is there, first of
Putting in a
all,
metadata field.
okay, I agree with that, and I have no problems that being an additional thing. But as this is, first of all, it cannot go over one page because page breaks are an issue, right?
Hmm.
What else can we do to make this more robust that you can think of? Are line breaks issues?
Well, infinitely small, yeah, like everything. Yeah, so infinitely small, basically. If it's like font 0000001, there will be no light break, there will be no page break because it fits even like in one single pixel. So that would probably be safe, but I'm not even sure. I assume so.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. Right. Okay. So this may please you. First of all, I got to get rid of these weird guys here. And you probably have to go. I definitely have to go in a minute. Uh, why do I have to see our faces all the time when we don't have faces, right? Okay. Are you ready for magic? I'll show you how I program. I'm going to do it this way. This is just to make sure that the text is the right size. It's a bit of a hack. Did it? Yeah, close enough for now. Right. You're probably horrified by this, but
You showed me before.
okay. So now I've added a button that's going to be programmed by the end of the day. That will allow the user to add a JSON file to this, and it will be done at size 2, font 2. Right.
Why not like 0.00000001 font size?
I think there are some limitations. I have experimented before, but I'm happy to hang on.
Because what's most likely going to happen is if it works well. So we do a loop where one reads and writes and reads again from XOR to author. The better it works, the more people will use it. The more people will use it, the more data they're going to add, and thus the longer this field will be, and thus the most likely it is to break.
I completely agree with you. Hang on, I'm writing it first to agree, and then I'm going to run like mad. It'll be very last page after Visual Meta. No, it'll be before Visual Meta. Is that okay? Does it matter to you?
Yes, if it's the last page, if it's the single thing, the only thing on the last page, then it's easier to read. What I would probably do, in the same spirit of not changing the publication process of, for example, the ACM, is instead of piggybacking on the back of on the document itself, it's piggybacking on the end of metadata field. So, for example, the description. At the end of a description, I would make, for example, 3 empty lines and one that says JSON from WebXR or XOR or spatial, whatever, and then an empty line, and then the JSON in there. Because why do I say this? It's not, and it doesn't have to be removing what's at the visible end of the document. That can still stay there, but by being inside a metadata field, there is no formatting, and this is what the formatting is. What's going to potentially break the data.
Emily? So I have to go and I need to drive them advanced. I don't know how to make a new one here. So which one should we add it to? Emily?
Well, the safer is description, I imagine. because that's what people are using. They
Ready to
put a
leave
ton
soon,
of
right? I will drive you. I'm finished in a minute. Don't stress, yeah. Okay, that is not for now. I need them to do okay. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. All right. That was enough saving the world for one day. I got to drive the family. Thank you for this. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hopefully, they will have made it possible to see if we can. What the fuck? Not metadata thing. See if we can kick this whole project along.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye bye for now.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.